Hollywood actors and producers and directors love to praise themselves and pat themselves on the back and pretend that they're the wisest, most enlightened people in the universe. Can you imagine how much pressure there is on the host of the Golden Globes to feed that delusion, to reinforce the narcissism? Think what you want about Ricky Gervais, but you have to respect him for calling out the hypocrisy and telling celebrities to shut up for once. He sets this up with a joke about Apple television.
Apple roared into the TV game with a morning show, a superb drama, a superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China.
Hypocrites, lecturing us about dignity and doing the right thing. Meanwhile, the workers in their factories are sleeping on cold asphalt, and the taskmasters have to install suicide nets around their buildings to keep workers from jumping to their deaths. I love the cutaway to Apple CEO Tim Cook, by the way. Remember Tim Cook? He's the guy running around giving speeches on why we need more censorship and why the tech giants need to exert more control over what people can say.
That's why we only have one message for those who seek to push hate, division, and violence. You have no place on our platforms.
Now, if these tech companies simply wanted to block people who were calling for violence, things like that, no one would have a problem with it. But guess what? All the tech platforms have already been doing that for years. So what's he calling for? All the tech platforms are doing the exact same thing. They say, we're against hate and racism and violence. Aren't you against those things too? Shouldn't we use our tech monopolies to censor hate speech? Of course we should. Here are the new rules. And then they use the new rules to ban anyone they happen to disagree with. Dear Tim Cook, there is no connection whatsoever between you knowing how to build gadgets and you knowing who should be silenced. So, make my phone, make my iPad, make my laptop, and shut your mouth. Back to Ricky exposing the hypocrisy.
Well, you say you're woke, but the companies you work for, I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you?
Of course they would. And not only would they call their agents, they'd rush to Twitter to brag about how open-minded they are for streaming to the Muslim world and how Islamophobic people are for not wanting to join the ISIS streaming network. Bunch of losers.
So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world.
Bravo, sir. Bravo. They know nothing about the real world. They live in a Hollywood bubble. But they think that because they pretend to be other people for a living, they're somehow qualified to tell the rest of us what to think and what to say. That room is filled with the biggest bunch of delusional egomaniacs the world has ever seen. Take it home, Ricky.
Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and so...
It must have been very, very awkward to come up to the podium after that and give a political speech. But that didn't stop these deranged actors and actresses from doing it. Let's look at an example. Here's Michelle Williams accepting the Golden Globe for Best Performance by an Actress in a Limited Series or Motion Picture Made for Television.
When you put this in someone's hands, you're acknowledging the choices that they make as an actor, moment by moment, scene by scene, day by day, but you're also acknowledging the choices they make as a person.
By giving me this award, you're affirming every choice I've ever made. You've put your stamp of approval on everything I've ever done. That's what Golden Globes are.
Seems like she's emphasizing choice here. I wonder if she's going somewhere with this.
I'm grateful for the acknowledgement of the choices I've made, and I'm also grateful to have lived at a moment in our society where choice exists, because as women and as girls, things can happen to our bodies that are not our choice.
I'm pretty sure things can happen to anyone's body that aren't that person's choice. People don't want to get the flu or diabetes or cancer. I once got clocked in the head with a purse. Almost knocked me unconscious. I didn't choose that. Get to your point, Michelle.
I've tried my very best to live a life of my own making, not just a series of events that happened to me, but one that I could stand back and look at and recognize my handwriting all over, sometimes messy and scrawling, sometimes careful and precise, but one that I had carved with my own hand, and I wouldn't have been able to do this without employing a woman's right to choose.
People are cheering for that? Even if you're pro-choice, you should also be pro not being an idiot. Did you hear what she just said? After claiming that by giving her an award, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association was not only affirming the choices she's made as an actress, but also the choices she's made in her personal life, she goes on to say that she couldn't live a life of her own making, a life written by her, without employing a woman's right to choose. And the entire room broke into applause. Seriously? You can't have a life of your own making without having the ability to kill a baby? Without being able to kill a baby, your life is being written by someone else? So prior to Roe versus Wade, women couldn't live lives of their own making?
Finally, we can choose to abort our babies. Now we can choose to be actresses as well. Until now, there were no actresses.
Can't women be in control of their lives by choosing not to get pregnant? I know there are pregnancies that are the result of rape, but that's rare. The incredibly vast majority of abortions have nothing to do with rape. And yet they're supposedly essential to a woman being able to live lives of their own making. Hollywood says so. Obviously, there are all kinds of ways for a woman to choose not to have a baby. Abortion is one of them, but for some reason, it's the one that is absolutely essential to Michelle Williams. What she really means is that if she chooses to have unprotected sex with a man, and if she gets pregnant as a result of that choice, she can't be free to live a life of her own making without the right to kill the consequence of the choice she already made. But here's a quick question. Why would that reasoning stop at birth? Why couldn't the mother of a toddler say, unless I have the right to kill this toddler, I'm not free to live a life of my own making? If you don't allow me to kill this toddler whenever I choose, you're controlling me and I'm not free to write my own life story. Help, I'm being oppressed. Here, most of us would say, too bad, you don't get to kill your toddler. He's a human being. And if this human being is going to interfere with other decisions you want to make, too bad, that's life. But why wouldn't that reasoning also apply to the baby in her womb? I'll go ahead and say it. If you think you can't live a life of your own making without being able to kill a baby, you're a garbage human being, and so is everyone who cheers for you. Keep in mind, I'm not even talking about whether you're pro-choice. I'm talking about making this particular defense of being pro-choice. It's disgusting. All right, so what's the call to action, Michelle?
Women 18 to 118, when it is time to vote, please do so in your own self-interest. It's what men have been doing for years.
Look at this idiot crying.
It's what men have been doing for years, which is why the world looks so much like them. But don't forget, we are the largest voting body in this country. Let's make it look more like us.
Let your vaginas do your thinking for you, just like men let their penises do their thinking. But vaginas outnumber penises, so we can elect anyone we want. And by giving me this award, you're agreeing with everything I'm saying now and everything I've ever said. Welcome to the logic of a Hollywood actress.
Can you imagine what Ricky Gervais was thinking when he had to listen to this dingbat give her political speech? Can you imagine what he was thinking when he had to listen to the thunderous applause of other Hollywood actors? Ricky Gervais is pro-choice, but he's anti-stupid actors spouting total nonsense at awards shows. That's why he warned them. They didn't listen. Hollywood actors and actresses once again look like the clueless, narcissistic, out-of-touch enemies of reality that they are. But somehow, these are the people who think we should listen to them when they tell us how to vote, how to think, and how to live. I've got a better idea, Hollywood. Make our movies, know your role, and shut your mouth.